hit the streets to find out how, like, the general population were feeling, or if they even cared. My really average Irish jig was about as exciting as things got for the first 30 minutes downtown. Are we going to be watching the All Blacks this Sunday?
No?
I won't be.
Who?
Yeah, it's a cricket one, eh?
I don't like the All Blacks.
What? He loves them, really. Do you care about rugby?
I don't mind rugby, but I do like football.
Yeah, okay, like soccer, football.
Football.
It's an early morning game, isn't it?
8 o'clock?
Yeah, that's too early.
Not a great start, but I did eventually find some fans.
The All Black? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to watch that.
Are you a bit nervous?
Not really, I think we're sweet.
Okay.
I think we're sweet, yeah. It's confidence the Irish, huh?
I'm not nervous, I'm excited.
No, confident.
There's a few things to be concerned about, but I think we'll get over the line.
Nervous, particularly of Mr. Barnes.
I think it will be all right, maybe. He owes us a few.
Yeah, maybe. Well, my heart says, All Blacks sneaking a win. My head says Ireland grinding it out.
Let's check in with some Gen Zers. Yeah, so we're feeling okay about it. We think we might win.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, I think so.
I'm loving the confidence. But how are you feeling about it? Yeah, me too. Pretty nervous.
Let me know what your predictions are, guys. I think Ireland will win this one. I think this will finally be the time that the voodoo is going to be broken. I just think that Johnny Sexton brings way too much experience, way too much speed. And I think the fact that Ian Foster has come out and suggested that, game speed, like slowing the game down, is what the Irish wants to do, is completely incorrect. I think Ireland actually plays an extremely fast style, extremely fluid style of rugby that if Ian Foster thinks is preparing for Ireland to play like it's actually the Springboks that wants to slow the game down. And so I think if Ian Foster is preparing for a slow game, thinking that it's going to be against the Springboks, I think he's going to in for a little bit of a rude awakening.
2023, folks, quarterfinal number 2. The All Blacks taking on Ireland. From the Stade de France, it feels like a bigger game than a quarterfinal, if that makes sense. This feels like a big deal. Biggest game that I've been looking forward to, I don't know since when, but it's going to be massive.
Huge match in store tomorrow night for Ireland, and they'll feel like they've done all they can along the way to prepare themselves for this moment. They're the number 1 ranked side in the world. They've beaten New Zealand in a series away from home. They've beaten the world champion South Africa twice in the space of the last 12 months, and of course they won the Grand Slam in March. They've won their last 17 test matches, 29 test victories from 31, but they have lost 7 Rugby World Cup quarterfinals in a row. The last one particularly painful against the All Blacks in Tokyo in 2019.
You're a legend. Who's going to win? Oh, bonjour. Sorry, bonjour, bonsoir for us. All Blacks versus Ireland. Who's going to win?
Look, this is an amazing weekend. Look, I may have got 7 of the 8 right who are there, but ultimately, I sort of knew, I had a feeling that the teams are going to make this stage. This is probably in World Cup history the most competitive quarterfinal weekend. Who's going to win? Well, I actually don't care about 3 of the results, to be honest with you. There's one that matters, and that's the All Blacks taking on Ireland. And look, this is going to be a remarkable game. It's going to be probably one of the biggest test matches that, the All Blacks, particularly this All Black group, have been a part of. And I've got no doubt, being in and around the group and caught up with Aaron Smith yesterday and had a good chat to him, they're ready. They're as ready as they'll ever be for this challenge. And yes, they're the underdog, but they're certainly capable. And I'm getting more confident the closer we get to the game. We're good enough, and we can, and we will win this game against Ireland. And if we get it right, it's going to be something really special.
The big juicy news story at the top of the show.
Leading your CGW tonight, the longest week in the history of Kiwi sport continues to drag towards the huge quarterfinal between the All Blacks and Ireland.
Cannot wait. And while we sit here twiddling our thumbs, the media frenzy is peaking over in France. In the Irish armour.
Well, we worked on our mental game for the last 4 years. We've put ourselves in different scenarios to prepare for this. I don't think we're carrying much baggage. It's a one-off game, and we got to prepare for it now.
More like pack your baggage because it's your last game. Meanwhile, over at All Blacks training camp, they also sharpened their noodles.
For myself, the fear of losing doesn't ever cross my mind. The motivation that this group has, the energy, that we thrive off each other's is motivational. We don't like to take a sort of glass half empty view on things.
Speaking of glasses, someone found Mashi worried that we might turn up to the quarter with a semi.
The All Blacks have had a canter since the French game, so they haven't been hardened like Ireland have.
Yes, Ireland are looking rock solid, but this random Aussie fella reckons their power of vengeance might be the winner on the day.
Do you think New Zealand aren't humiliated and embarrassed about what Ireland did down in the Shaky Isles 2 years ago? Like the New Zealanders really want this game. Do you think Joe's not winding them up?
Well, I'm just wound up thinking about Andy Farrell alone in his hotel room.
I'm constantly locking myself in the room and giving myself a good dressing down.
Sorry, I got distracted there. I forget the full question.
Thanks, Andy.
Subscribe to Andy Farrell's OnlyFans to find out what a good dressing down is.
Good structure. You can pop guys in and out, but obviously, there's some class guys that Ireland will desperately want. But will we try harder or less if they're there? No, we'll be trying exactly the same. These guys need to, prepare for whoever. Obviously individuals will look at potentially who they're going to play against, but as a unit, we won't be looking for any excuses that maybe they won't be as good as they're going to be. They're going to be good. And just speaking on behalf of New Zealand, there's a lot of respect for Ireland. We're probably pretty uncomfortable right now in a country. We don't like going into a test match thinking we could lose. I think just looking at our local sports betting things this morning, Ireland are the favourites over here at the moment. So that gives you a bit of a sense of the way the New Zealand public, I suppose, are putting their money where their mouth is and perhaps not as confident as we have been in the past.
One of these sides is going home. I mean, for me, you keep watching Ireland and the amount that they defend and the mountain of work they go through, you think, oh, surely they can't do it again. But they have been doing it again and again and again. So can they do it one more time? Because New Zealand are going to be out for blood. That drubbing they got in New Zealand on the tour, that has hit them really hard.
You're absolutely right. And you're so right as well. And when you look at the minutes played by players in teams in the World Cup, Ireland's players are comfortably in the top bunch of that list. Andy Farrell has put them out week after week, a lot of the frontline players, and they're going to go again, and they're expecting to go 3 more times. But you do wonder whether that fatigue set in tournaments over this bigger period. Maybe that's why they went a little bit light in the warm-up games. It's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, obviously you see it on the TV, and everyone's been talking about it, so it's no secret. But the support is incredible, and what's amazing is that the way the players, you could see them reacting to it at full time.
My name is Wildcard. Thank you for being here and watching my content.
Yes,
as always,
Right,
it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And there is no bigger occasion in the history of rugby than the quarterfinals for the Irish fan. And ever since the inception of the Rugby World Cup, Ireland has never, ever made out of the quarterfinals, ever. And boy, it is once again the death match. It is once again the revenge match. And it is once again, oh boy, the match that may end the hoodoo for Ireland.
That really started taking off in 2016, and didn't it? And it continued with that 3-match series in New Zealand last year. There is a lot of bad blood, a lot of spice in this one, Jeff, but a very different side that New Zealand is putting out. I think 6 test careers were basically ended in New Zealand last year. There are 2 new coaches involved in this one, including Joe Schmidt, who was there with Ireland 4 years ago in the quarterfinals.
It's not, because these guys now know each other.
But it's a one-off game. So all those things are irrelevant. It is what it is this weekend. Forget the past, forget history.
I don't know, no.
Forget
No,
2016.
Ireland have never been out of a quarterfinal. Ireland have never been out of a quarterfinal. You can't, the pressure's on them.
Okay, let's talk psychologically, right? 87 through to 211, we were the best team. Going into those games, we carried the weight of the nation on us. So we've learnt that.
So who's feeling that now?
Ireland.
Absolutely.
Ireland. So I think it's all irrelevant. I agree with you. Our side is very different. I'm confident that we've got the right side, but Ireland's problem is psychological.
Yeah.
Right? Their problem this week is dealing with actually a really good and different All Black side and the pressure of a nation. Like, did you see the game the other day? There's only green shirts. And there's only going to be green shirts compared to All Black shirts.
I think your point is it is relevant because it's taken us 3 years to get to a settled side. And we've gone through a lot of hurt. We've never done that in the past. We've come into a Rugby World Cup, or even 3 years before that, having lost so many games, trying to find sort of our selection guys, the guys up front, and finding the group, and also Lomax, but a really settled team. So we are on a different sort of a pathway to this. You're right about that sort of mental side. Can Ireland handle that expectation that they are number one? We've done it for years and years, and that's probably been one of our burdens, that we've gone with too much expectation. But from what I've seen of this Irish side, they have started to cover that box as well. That game against Scotland, man, they came out and they monstered them right from the get-go. And so I'm seeing it's something totally different from this Irish team.
It's interesting you mentioned the fans because, of course, it's been a sea of green because ultimately they've been pool games. But how many people would have tried to buy tickets for a quarter-final? So I think the balance will be different. There'll be a huge number of All Black fans. I think it will be,
How many? And 90,000 seats.
I don't really care. I don't really care. Can we talk about the balance? I don't care about it. I don't care. I do want to talk about selection because I agree with what you've said, right? So I agree. We are the best side that we can be, and we've been through adversity. But it's a one-off game. It is. So all of stuff's irrelevant. But what is relevant is what you're going to do. Who do you want at the end of this game from an All Black point of view, from a leadership point of view?